Welcome back, everybody, to another episode here of Just Dolan, Higurashi When They Cry, Ch.1 Onikakushi Hen. Oh yeah, there's a hoe in there somewhere. Last time we went to school, we told Mion off, we left, Rena followed us, and now we're having a flashback because Rena's holding a hatchet above our heads and we're going crazy. So, here we are. Then, what happened after that? There was a hospital right across from the school, so the three of them were carried in and treated quickly. Oh yeah, also, in the flashback we were learning about, it's showing us what Oishi told us over the phone after the night before. After Keiji freaked out seeing Rena in the window, apologizing still. He's talking about the three boys who Rena allegedly beat the shit out of with a metal bat in a shed outside the school before she broke all the windows. Yay! So, yeah, that's what's happening. There's a hospital right across from the school, so the three of them were carried in and treated quickly. What about Rena? What about the police? Why wasn't there a criminal investigation? You see, the police can't get involved unless they're called. Even though one was badly injured with permanent damage? Why didn't they file charges? That's what caught my attention as well. Either some threat or pressure was placed on them. Or they had a reason they couldn't file charges, even if they wanted to. We're talking about you, after all. Of course you looked into it, didn't you? Well, yeah. But I told you at the beginning, didn't I, that the victims were all very reluctant to talk. They didn't want to touch on the matter, or rather, they didn't want to be involved. Reluctant to talk. Didn't want to touch it. Didn't want to be involved. It resembled the villagers here in Oyashiro-sama's curse. Yes? Did the teachers at the school tell you anything? The school is hallowed ground. You could say they tend to keep scandals under wraps. I didn't have a search warrant, so I had to tread lightly, you see. Then there was no comment from the school? Nope. They denied the incident even happened. It's just 3 male students were carried in for blunt force trauma that day. That's all there was in the hospital records. The victims didn't speak? The school denied it happened? Then you don't know anything at all. Yeah, I know nothing other than the incident itself had taken place. The victims also wished this incident to be kept from the public. So if you and I both forget about it, my Bar-san, this incident will probably just fade away. For a brief period, we sat in silence. At first glance, it looked like a simple assault case. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. The depths were obscured by rolling waves sinking quietly into the void, as if never existing to begin with. After that, she was suspended by the school, and during that time she underwent psychiatric counseling. Did you hear anything from the doctor? Again, they were very professional in regards to their ethics, or at least very tight-lipped. Nothing even after you showed them your badge? I was told to get a warrant. The badge itself has no legally binding authority, after all. Then how did you know that Rena confessed that it was Oyashiro-sama who did it? There's a nurse I asked in the department. She agreed to help me just from showing her my badge. Then what did she say? Turns out the nurse hadn't heard shit. Apparently all that she remembered was what she overheard from inside the room. The nurse said that at the time, Rena Reigu was very calm and mild-mannered. It was more like she was confessing her sins at a church than a counseling session. She spoke with her mother there for some of it. But partway through, her mother was asked to leave. So it became a private counseling session between just the doctor and Rena for a while. The part with Oyashiro-sama, when did that pop up? Partway through. She screamed the name suddenly. That startled the nurse, and that's why she started listening in. It was Oyashiro-sama! Rena suddenly shouted that. I had no idea what was said before that, so I had no idea what the meaning behind it could have been. The doctor calmly and collectedly asked Rena to have a seat. What is this Oyashiro-sama you speak of? Gently, ever so gently, a fundamental part of counseling is to be a good patient listener. Whoever abandons Hinamizawa will be hunted down by Oyashiro-sama, and it's finally gotten to me. That's the town you lived in before you moved here. Isn't that right, Ryugu-san? I didn't want to move. Because of my mom and dad's circumstances, we had to. But Oyashiro-sama wouldn't allow it. Ryugu-san must have lots of friends there in Hinamizawa. Even now you must be missing them dearly, don't you think? I want to go back. Back to Hinamizawa. No, it's not that I want to go back. I have to go back. I should have gone back much sooner, but now it's too late. Oyashiro-sama has come. Oyashiro-sama is the name of the god in Hinamizawa, is that right? Everyone knows. It's Hinamizawa's guardian deity. And if you ever try abandoning Hinamizawa by leaving, you'll incur its wrath. You had moved quite a while ago, didn't you? Then it was just now that this god has arrived, is what you're saying? You might not believe me, but Oyashiro-sama exists. That nurse was then asked by another nurse to do something and left the room. That was all she remembered. That it was Oyashiro-sama's doing, right? I do believe that there is that kind of superstition here in Hinamizawa, that if you leave the village, then you'll incur Oyashiro-sama's wrath. You should be familiar with this part, my bar-san. I knew very well that those scorned by the village... What those scorned by the village incurred. Damn, can't read. To hinder the dam construction project, they cursed the construction foreman to his death. Then the following year, Sadako's parents, supporters and leading advocates for the dam, were cursed to their death. But this is the first time I've heard of the curse incurred by leaving the village. This is my first time hearing that. I can understand outside threats being cursed by the village, but why also villagers who leave? Normally, people who leave villages aren't supposed to be cursed, right? I know it's a bit strange to say it, but I could see it as a rule that the people who come in are the ones who would be cursed. Far from Jupiter, far from his thunder. Curses weren't something to chase after people that leave, were they? Ueshi-san pondered for a bit over the other end of the receiver, then began speaking again. Well, I told you of long ago when Hinamizawa was called Onikakushi, didn't I? I did recall hearing that. Long ago, Hinamizawa was feared and respected as village of ogres. Man, if I was reading all of this, the entire story, in one sitting, like binge reading, which lots of people do, by the way. That's something lots of readers do, is they just read for like hours and hours and hours. There's a lot of people who do that. If I was doing that, I would be a lot more perplexed and annoyed about all of the repetition in the speech. Like, it's really starting to become annoying. It's all Keiichi. Every time he talks, like, every time he becomes the narrator for a moment, he, like, repeats information we already know as if we'd forgotten. And it's really, like, kind of insulting to my intelligence. Like, I can remember. Like, I'm not even binge reading this right now. A lot of this information I learned weeks ago, just because of my recording schedule, and I still fucking remember it. Like, come on. Come on. Like, damn. If I read all this in one day, I would be, like, really insulted. Not that it's a bad story, it's just that one aspect is really, like, overwhelming. It's like, please stop, please. Please. The villages at the foot of the mountains worshipped the ogres. So Onikakushi was hallowed ground that you could never enter. It came to be said that if you entered carelessly, you were cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Those who set foot in Onikakushi, in other words, Hinamizawa, would be cursed. I can understand that. Oh, whatever. I know that. But for leaving to also be no good, that's also the ogres, you see. They were being strictly watched by Oyashiro-sama so that they would not enter into our world. Yeah? In other words, Oyashiro-sama probably restricted interaction between Onikakushi and the rest of the world. I see. I finally understood what sort of thing Oyashiro-sama was. So basically, he's more like a warden than a protectorate deity, I guess. Trying to keep this place isolated from the rest of the world. I guess that's how it would seem. Sorry, I don't know very much myself. It was mostly what was passed on to me from my grandma. I could understand it a bit better if it was like that. Those who came to Hinamizawa would be cursed, and those who tried to leave would also be cursed, so... Because Ren had originally lived here in Hinamizawa and moved away, she fulfilled the requirements for being cursed. So that means because Rena moved away against its wishes, she was cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Is that what it adds up to? I'm just going to not say anything and let you guys decide whether or not that reinforced my point at all. Right in a row. Right in a row. In short, that seems to be what it points to, I guess. As a matter of fact, soon afterwards, they did not move back to Hinamizawa after all. Those who abandoned Hinamizawa and left were cursed. But then, why only Rena? Shouldn't Rena's parents have also been guilty of the same transgression by moving away and have been cursed? Also, in this day and age in Japan, shouldn't there be a lot of people coming and going? If every single one of them was cursed, then it'd be insane. In reality, it wasn't that big of a deal at all. At most, there'd be one person dying and one disappearing on the day of the Watanagashi. I don't like saying at most, though. Well, anyways, there's a lot I still don't know. Even if it was Oyashiro-sama's curse, it doesn't explain Rena beating her classmates with a bat or why the victims wouldn't press charges. You don't think the victims were cowering because they believed that a terrible curse had really befallen them, do you? Of course I didn't want to believe it, but more importantly, I just realized something else. There's another bizarre connection that Rena made between Oyashiro-sama's curse and metal bats. Satoshi fell victim to the curse and went missing. I had recently learned that Satoshi had also become infatuated with the bat right before he disappeared, just like me, then Rena as well. She was affected by the curse. She confessed that much to the doctor, and the weapon which she had used at the time of their act was again a metal bat. And finally, me. I'd encountered various things that were inexplicable, and now I was holding on to a metal bat. I was shocked when I learned that Satoshi did the same thing it couldn't be. Had the same thing happen to Rena? But there was one crucial difference between her and Satoshi's case. That being, Satoshi went missing after falling victim to the curse, but Rena was still here. Both of them had fallen victim to the curse, yet they were met with different endings. And finally, me. I couldn't call it coincidence anymore. Rena, Satoshi, and finally me. Could it be that I was really under the curse right now? Now, more importantly than that, what should I do right now? Satoshi had been demoned away, vanishing without a trace. Satoshi had been demoned away, vanishing without a trace. Rena was fine. That being said, Satoshi went missing after falling victim to the curse, but Rena was still here. Satoshi had been demoned away, vanishing without a trace. Rena was fine. I'm just gonna continue. I'm gonna try not to say anything. I'm just gonna continue. Fine. Rena had undergone a change. I can only believe that there was something that Rena wasn't residing. There was something that Rena wasn't residing within her. Oh, something that wasn't Rena residing within her. Got it. And here, right now, it was standing before me. Rena, please tell me. What will happen to me? Rena stood imposingly, not answering. Satoshi disappeared. But you didn't disappear. So what'll happen to me? I had never heard such an unpleasant laugh before. It had become akin to the sound of her breathing. It was no longer a voice or an expression of feeling. Don't worry. I'll save you. Rena took one step forward, still holding the hatchet high above her head. Now then. One step closer, Rena's face spread out to fill my vision. Speak. One step closer. Rena's nose was close enough to touch mine. I was still pushing closer. I thought you were on the ground. Oh no, you were in the middle of pulling yourself up, right? Forgot. I was still pushing closer. There's something you want to say, isn't there? I'll listen. I'll save you, okay? Speak, okay? Speak, okay? I slumped down, landing squarely on my butt. It wasn't for some pathetic reason. It was all I could do to get as far away from Rena. Okay, let me try to replicate this. There we go. That was the best I could do. That was really long. I had the gut feeling that I couldn't let her laughter end. Because when that laughing ended, the moment I picked up on that feeling, my body moved by instinct. I sprang to my feet so fast. Oh, what the fuck? It just auto-scrolled that text. I sprang to my feet so fast I couldn't believe it and pushed Rena away with both hands. Rena was as light as a feather. Thrown about by the unbalanced weight of the hatchet, she was sent backwards as if she'd been carried off by the wind. After confirming that out of the corner of my eye, I dashed off at full speed. It was the perfect picture of fleeing like a greased pig. Get away from Rena. Run away. Survive. I couldn't think of anything other than this. While I was running, I remembered I'd been holding onto the bat the entire time. Such a worthless weapon. Couldn't believe I'd forgotten about this weapon at such an important time. Yeah, you could have killed her, I guess. I sped even farther down the winding path. I didn't even feel myself gasping for breath or my legs getting heavy. My body understood it as well. If I didn't run away from here, I wouldn't live. I could hear the laughter of that small simulacrum of Rena coming from behind me. It rang through the trees into my head and slowly chiseled away at my sanity. The grove of trees thinned out, my field of vision suddenly expanding. Where was this? For a moment, I was bewildered by the scenery, I felt, but couldn't quite remember. I've seen this before. Didn't I see this before? I think I did. I think it's, yeah, it was during the tip with the... Can I read tips from here? No. Sad face. It was from the tip where they were talking about the dam construction site, right? And the dismemberment and stuff. I quickly realized it was the dam site. Yeah, I was right. The fact that I dashed madly and ended up in a place like this gave me a bad feeling, like I was following someone's scripted plot. I had a good view of my surroundings, but I didn't see a single soul here. This was a terrible spot for someone on the run, but there was no better place for an attacker. My heart was already on the verge of bursting. The muscles in my legs were screaming, but I didn't care. If I stopped here, then they might not even be able to scream for much longer. Even still, I glanced back looking for an excuse to rest. Rena wasn't there. Instead, I saw two villagers walking around. I breathed a sigh of relief that it wasn't Rena, but a third party. Except the voice inside me rang the alarm once again. Villagers walking around weren't suspicious in and of themselves, but it bothered me. They both wore rough-looking clothes. Empty-handed, they definitely gave the impression that they were just out for a walk. But at this time of day, two adults wandering around without a purpose, it was enough to raise questions. But more than anything else, those eyes. They weren't chit-chatting while walking. They were both silent, heading forward, looking in my direction. Was I at the end of my rope and had finally started imagining things? I should run away. That was probably the best choice. If they weren't involved, I'd lose them easily by running. If they were part of the group after me, then they wouldn't come running after me. Or then they would come running after me. Either way, unless I hurried up, Rena would catch up with me. That's right, I was going to run. I Deciding that, the moment I began to turn tail, both of them rushed towards me, as if they knew exactly what I was thinking. Somewhere inside me, I had jumped to the conclusion that Rena was the only thing I needed to be afraid of. I made the assumption that I didn't need to fear anything else, but right now I just realized how blatantly wrong I was. Suddenly, the story Oyashiro-sama told me about all the demons leaving the village to hunt prey floated through the back of my mind. I could tell they were both coming after me without even turning around because of their frenetic footsteps. It was frightening, being unable to shake Rena off as she slowly closed in on me, but this didn't even compare. Being pursued with such violent ferocity with the straightforward horror was unparalleled. One of the pursuers' arms grazed my shoulder. Now it wasn't just their frenzied footsteps, but also the distinct sound of their breathing that I could hear. No, I could practically feel them breathing on me. They were already right behind me. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. Still running at full tilt, I felt the surrounding area go still. No, it felt like time itself had stopped. I turned my head back, in that frozen world, realizing how close my pursuers had gotten to me. I couldn't win against the likes of an adult. In less than the time it would take to blink twice, when this frozen time began moving again, they'd be right on top of me. And then... Don't think about that, Keiichi. First, realize that you won't be able to shake them off like this. If the fact that you can't get away was a given, then you need to make a decision. Go with the right leg or with the left. You just need to decide which one. Let's go with the left. The moment I decided that, the temporal singularity burst into pieces. Right, left. I swung the bat in a wide arc, my right arm using that inertia. I stopped suddenly and spun. What? The two of them were clearly startled, momentarily losing sight of me. Both of their outstretched arms, ready to grab me, instead grasped at an empty space. The man on the right, I applaud him for being able to figure it out, spun around to the spot I shouldn't have been and faced me in astonishment. But it was too late. I didn't even need to swing my bat. All I needed to do was extend my arms as they turned around. It was by no means a heavy blow, but it seemed like it had enough power behind it to knock him off his feet. But just knocking him down wasn't enough to scare him away. He got back up in no time. Both of them took a fighting stance and were ready to face me. This made me certain they weren't just two people out for a walk. They were clearly after me. It felt much easier than dealing with Rena. Easier? Just by not recognizing their faces, by not knowing them, it made things easier. Yeah, I could see that. I smiled wryly on the inside. What do you want with me? Next one is going to be right in your face, you bastard! It's fine if it was just a bluff. By barking out at them, I was able to fire myself up. They didn't respond. They spread out to either side of me with unbelievably calm expressions on their faces. One of them would grab onto my bat and the other would hold me down. Is that their plan? Taking on both of them at once would be impossible. Hot sweat poured from every pore in my body, then I'd just have to settle it with the first move. I'd step in and strike the first one down. Knowing my target to the man on the right who had already been knocked down before, I stepped in and swung with all my might. There was no way for an unarmed person to guard against it. It would cause immense damage. If they blocked it with their arm, their bone would snap like a twig. If they turned their back to it, it was possible the blow would travel all the way to their vitals. It looked like he was aware of this. He pushed farther through the kill zone between us and delivered a fist right into my gut. Not good. At this distance, in this position, and in this state, there was no way for me to dodge it. The world flipped upside down. I understood that I was being tossed around like a rag doll. I landed on the soft earth without a sound, feeling the grainy soil press against my face. It didn't hurt at all. The moment I thought that, I suddenly felt pain coming from the abrasions on my skin, as well as the contents of my stomach being forced upwards, flooding my mouth with a bitter sensation. I knew very well that I didn't have the time to relish this experience. I stood up as quickly as I could, but at that moment the other man was already barreling towards me. Being able to comprehend calmly that I simply couldn't dodge it made it all the more upsetting. After plowing it into my stomach full force once again, my assailant twisted around behind me and locked his thick arm around my neck. My throat felt like it was being crushed by his immense strength. I couldn't even contemplate that I was being strangled or that I was about to go unconscious. My vision simply darkened and a silent whining noise began playing deep inside my mind. It took everything I had to keep myself from blacking out. While this was happening, the other man was more than likely standing in front of me. I wasn't able to open my eyes, but I could feel that he was there. There was nothing I could do now. Unable to shake his arm off me, I couldn't run, couldn't fight back. Dire straits. I couldn't even come up with a phrase that adequately described my situation. Well, shit. I half expected it to be like, you've unlocked new tips, and I was going to burst into hysterical laughter. That would have been so fucking funny. If it's just like, oh, you unlock new tips, start of the next day. That would have been great. Alright, well, I guess being knocked unconscious is a pretty decent spot to end. Right, you guys? Shit's getting real now. We actually just got physically assaulted. So, that's cool. Wow. I kind of expected it to end this episode. There's a lot of, stuff I didn't expect. Stuff I didn't remember. I don't know. Maybe, am I not remembering anything? Or is it new? Did they leave it out of the anime? Because they needed to adapt it in a certain way? I don't know. Really hard to tell. Anyway. If you think that was intense, next episode is going to be even more intense. I'll tell you that much. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you guys then. And have a good rest of your night. Peace.